Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's global virtual event. We're excited that you're here. And of course, the news about VCF 9 it just launched last week, and we're all excited to hear more about that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about VMUG. Many of you, this might be your first time at a VMUG event. And VMUG is the VMware User Group. We're an independent organization, but tightly aligned with Broadcom. And our mission is for our members to get the most out of VMware and partner solutions because VMware makes great software, but it takes more than just great software for you to run the data centers and get the business outcomes that you're looking for. Now, as I go all over the place and am fortunate enough to meet a lot of VMUG members, one of the questions I get a lot is, Brad, what kind of support are we seeing from Broadcom? Well, I can tell you it is fantastic. In fact, Hock Tan, President and CEO, is a big fan of VMUG, and he has spoken at many events, and he did this video for us today that I want to play right now. And we appreciate the support that Hock, and you can hear from President CEO Hock Tan right now, his thoughts about VMUG.
As you know, I'm a fan of VMUG. You're the practitioners who show the world what our products can do. And we're constantly learning from you. That's why I want to share with you our newest release of VMware Cloud Foundation, VCF 9. This release represents millions of engineering hours to create a unified private cloud platform. VCF 9 is an integrated stack, removes roadblocks so you can innovate and work faster. It's a platform that combines the agility, flexibility of public cloud with the performance, security, resilience of an on-prem environment. VCF 9 is a single answer for all applications, traditional, modern, or AI. No matter where your workloads are deployed, you can accelerate innovation, control costs, and meet your data sovereignty and security needs. If you're an IT administrator, VCF 9 promises to make your life much easier. It can help make you the hero, in fact, of your organization. And to me, it's the strongest proof yet of Broadcom's commitment to VMware through ongoing investment and innovation. Finally, I want you to know how much I appreciate your trust and input over the past year. That input has helped make it possible to deliver the world's most advanced modern private cloud platform available today. We're excited about it, and we know you will be too. Thank you.
That's great to hear from Hock Tan. I can tell you that support is not only at the highest level, but it's all throughout the organization. In fact, our keynote coming up is from Paul Turner. Of course, he is the Vice President of Products for the VCF Cloud Division at Broadcom, and he's no stranger to the VMUG stage either. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Paul Turner.
Great to be on with this group again, and thank you, Brad, for the intro. Let me kind of share slides here and actually jump into it. Great. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. Hopefully all of you out there have actually heard the news. What I want to do today is actually give you as much new information as possible and actually showcase to you VCF 9. An awful lot of work has gone into this. We announced it back in Explore, and we put more than a year and a half, 5,000 developers. I mean, this has been a massive, massive effort. Hopefully you're going to see the fruits of the labor. Hopefully even after the end of my session today, you're going to love what we've done. But first, I want to thank all of you. This is a really important community to us. VMUG is a huge community, and 160,000 members worldwide, 230 local groups. I love the local groups, and I've gone to many of the sessions with them. You know, they really are the way to kind of learn from your peers, build up your kind of knowledge of our products. And of course, they get special speakers, special events, all that type of stuff. So get engaged. This is a community, so please do use it. And it helps us. We learn a lot from this community. So please continue to drive and use our products. And more importantly, please give us feedback. So one of the things that you're probably looking at is cloud and what is happening in cloud. And in particular, you know, you look over the last 10 years and it's, you know, public cloud is the only place to run workloads. Well, very interestingly, you're actually seeing kind of a pivot. And what you're seeing is, I think, you all know Gartner and Gartner's kind of um, analysis of markets. But one of the things they look at is, well, you've got this hype cycle where things go through a kind of product hype, and then they go through what they call the trough of disillusionment before it kind of gets back to steady state. I think what we're at in public cloud, private cloud is actually more steady state. And what you're seeing is more repatriation. In other words, a balancing of workloads where private cloud is important, public cloud is important. And apps that people are building apps, not just traditional apps, but also new apps on the private cloud. And this was a survey that we did across 1,800 senior IT decision makers just in April of this year. And the full survey is available actually on our site. So this is an interesting time because I've always said that the change that we're looking now is the same change that we made with virtualization 20 to 25 years ago. There we brought significant change in terms of servers and cost efficiency of those servers to start with. But then we moved it from cost efficiency into standardization of IT, because now you could actually define a virtual machine effectively encapsulates the application. It allows for better delivery of the application, better delivery of the operating system, better delivery of the service. But imagine now we should do that for the whole data center. That's what private cloud is about. And that gives us a much more powerful software-defined data center. And the engine to that is VCF 9. And it's VCF, what you're delivering today. Hopefully many of you are starting to deploy. But VCF 9 is a culmination. I want to give you the latest update on our product there. So we think it's, you know, it is millions of hours of engineering work that went into it. 18 months of continuous development. We've been at it for quite a long time. We did this by converging teams, as you remember, inside in VMware. We actually took the NSX team, the management and automation team, the core platform team, which is the virtual machines, effectively the server virtualization, the storage virtualization team. And we converged all of those into one product team, actually building what we hope is the best private cloud platform for you. And we expect it will be. And we are continuing to invest in that innovation. In fact, Broadcom invests 18% of our top line revenue back into R&D investment. So that investment is very important to us, and we plan to continue it. So at the highest level, and you've seen this picture before, VCF 9 is about really two personas, if I think very simplistically. How do I help many of you out there, our very important audience, on just managing things at scale? Fleet management, security management. It's critical for you to manage threats and have confidence in the configuration of your environment, the setup of your environment. You've got compliance needs that you need to follow. All of that requires a level of diligence by the cloud administrator to actually run infrastructure at scale, but also their responsibility is then optimize that infrastructure. Make it available for the development teams, make it available for applications, but optimize it so that it's more and more efficient. But the second is the consumer of that. We have to make it easy to deliver a platform for any application. AI applications, virtual machines, Kubernetes-based applications, container-based apps. All of those have to be possible on the platform and has to be very simple. VCF 9 delivers that. Delivers the simplicity of operation, which I'm going to show you, for you, a set of administrators, but also the consumption interfaces and the capabilities that you need to run virtual machines, container apps, AI apps, all orchestrated with Kubernetes, all in a very simple, integrated platform. And it's a significant level of effort. So if I think about kind of the goals that we had for this release, it's kind of simplistic to call it one interface for cloud operations. But that's where we put the focus, is how can I bring together my operational monitoring, my log management, my network discovery and monitoring, which we had in separate products. How can I bring my skyline reporting so you can do in-place diagnostics and actually root cause based on issues that have been found? And how can I bring all those products into an integrated, seamless whole so that it's easy for you to manage and operate large scale infrastructure, and bring in also fleet management, which we had in something called SDDC Manager, but again, it was not integrated. So integrate all of those. And that's what we've done. And then one interface for cloud consumption. How do we bring together? And what we really looked at there is how can I bring together the capabilities of what's called VCD, Cloud Director, which brings multi-tenancy and the ability to actually have different tenant groups and allow independence of delivery. Because that's what a cloud should be. A cloud should give you the ability to actually have different tenant groups and different resource management for those tenant groups, and do that in an easy way. And to do that, we integrated in our BCD capability in with our automation capability and our full, in the middle there, full Kubernetes container stack runtime. And I'll show you that isn't just about a runtime. It's about also all the sets of services that you need to run container-based apps. And I'll touch on that in a second. And then maintaining sovereign, secure platform, and most importantly, keeping those costs managed. How do we help you optimize the environment? So it's a lot. It's modernizing your infrastructure, a new foundation installer, operational console that's a unified console, diagnostics built into it, fleet management, cost and chargeback. I hope you're going to see, and I'm going to show you a demo because that's the best way to actually show it. I hope you're going to see that it will actually be a game changer for you to manage large scale operations and to be able to do, over on the right, security operations, security diagnostics, compliance reporting. I'm going to show you all of that. And then in the middle, how do we deliver a unified cloud experience and the automation and the consumption that you need for being able to deliver any application, but deliver it in an agile way and allow developers, if they want to actually run on a cloud service, a cloud that delivers the VPC and the isolation that you need. It delivers self-service, of course, for your application, and delivers containers and VMs and app runtimes. So there's a few other, I talk a lot of what I've just talked about is management and management products and cool stuff that we built, and you're going to see it. But it's important to know that we also innovate within the platform itself. And I think the lasting innovation is when I can do amazing things like vMotion of a CPU. It's the biggest differentiator, I think, feature that really changed the game in terms of how we operationalize IT. Because now I can non-disruptively manage my IT environment. I can upgrade servers, I can rebalance workloads, and I can do it all dynamically. But we could not before do that for GPUs. In this release, we can. Now, this is for all of your AI applications. Now with your AI applications, because what we did is we did the stuff we know how to do. We took vMotion, we did the cold data pre-copy, right? So take the GPU content, pre-copy it over. We then did a kind of dirty region mapping on the IOMMU. So looking at exactly where is the memory pages and which ones are dirty, which ones need to be moved over. And we did then that final kind of switch over. So we were able to move and vMotion entire AI, generative AI applications. You are running large Llama 2 models. These are 70 billion parameter models running on GPUs with 160 gig of memory. And we were able to vMotion them without downtime. This is running PyTorch generative AI applications. Now that's cool. And that's going to be a game changer because now I can run much more efficient AI operations. I can do what I did before. consolidate applications, drive continuous uptime for applications. Powerful stuff. We also release the NVMe tiering, and we've talked about this briefly before, but NVMe tiering is important because DDR5 memory is very, very expensive. If you can do a 50-50 split, and this was our tests with 50-50 split of DDR5 memory and then NVMe drives, you can actually drive a 38% lower server TCO. So have a look at it. It can drive down your cost of infrastructure. vSAN, we've released with ESA global dedupe. So this is across the entire cluster. So it's not just a single server or anything like that. It's all of the storage within that particular cluster is globally deduped, leading to about 34%, and it depends on your application, but about 34% lower TCO. This is on a general purpose kind of application with a virtualization benchmark. And then enhanced data path. So enhanced data path is actually the next generation of our virtual switch. And importantly, I think it's coming at just the right time, because for AI workloads that I mentioned earlier, we've actually got to drive the performance of the networking tier, because the data bandwidth is really important. How can you take data from your storage, push it over the network, get it into the GPUs as quick as you can? That requires that'll move us past the 10, 25 gig networks that we have today to 100 gig networks and beyond. And this allows us to run those networks at line rate. So basically no delta versus the limit testing or the limit potential of that networking switch or that networking card. So cool innovation that actually went into the core platform. But the pieces you're going to notice, most importantly, are what we've done to help you manage and operate. And one of those is you'll see a new installer. It gives you a central way to actually download all the binaries. You're not going to get different products from different places. You get everything that you need. You select which pieces you need to actually deploy along with it, but all centrally managed. This is the place that you do all of your unified install and your setup. After you've done that, you've got a central operations console. This is built off our operations from before, but we built into it proactive security insights, diagnostics, the networking discovery and monitoring, the capacity planning is of course in there. And it allows also your central license management. So central licensing is done from here to actually go and configure the environment and get it started. So a really nice central place for governance. You're going to see later on that we've actually got, not just do we govern and monitor, we actually do full audit level logging as well on everything that's happening within the platform. So I think you're going to be excited. So with that, why don't I jump straight into a demo? You get to see it, and then we'll actually go into the next kind of click down. But let's go see a demo first.
In VCF9, we have consolidated many of the deployment, configuration, and management workflows that cloud administrators use to run their private clouds. The new fleet concept aggregates multiple VCF instances and associated management components into a single entity. VCF Operations 9 is now the primary interface for all private cloud operations. The all-new single sign-on service integrates seamlessly with all VCF components so admins can log in with their own unique credentials. It supports a wide range of identity providers and modern protocols like OpenID Connect, as well as traditional LDAP. It also works with VCF operations and VCF automation, and configuration takes just a few clicks. It's a good security practice to not share privileged accounts because it is difficult to track and audit activities. Once SSO is enabled and private cloud admins have their own credentials, you can easily change the local admin account passwords to prevent everyday use or sharing. VCF9 makes certificate management for your private cloud easier than ever. You can configure an external Microsoft CA service or use a built-in CA to issue certs automatically, reducing manual steps and potential for error. You can now manage ESX host certificates directly from operations, just like the other components. Create a CSR and then generate and install the certificate. When admins log into web management consoles that use self-signed certificates, it creates a risky practice if they grow accustomed to dismissing browser security warnings. This is why signed HTTPS certificates are crucial for secure private cloud operations. Certificates have an expiration date, and you don't want that to be a surprise. VCF 9 now features auto-renew as well as alerts integrated into operations. Auto-renew is also complemented by a new non-disruptive cert replacement capability that really cuts down on the time needed to perform this operation. VCF 9 connects to an online or offline depot, so it's easy to ensure the correct binaries are used when patching and updating. No need to manually download and copy updates for VCF infrastructure or management components. When a new patch is available, a wizard makes it easy for admins to plan and customize an update to infrastructure. There are tightly integrated verifications to ensure compatibility with the existing environment. Once the update has been planned, private cloud admins then configure the operation. They can select one or more clusters and designate a VLCM image that will apply to the ESX cluster. Live Patch uses the new partial maintenance mode to minimize disruption to the cluster. VMs do not evacuate and hosts do not need to reboot for compatible patches. Updates can be scheduled for an upcoming maintenance window or started immediately, depending on business needs. While the update is in operation, you can monitor the progress. To see the individual update activities, you can easily log into vCenter with SSO. Notice that the hosts are not going into traditional maintenance mode, and they do not reboot, which can be confirmed by noting the uptime metric for each host. This is a huge time savings for private cloud operations. When the operation is finished, you can see the current ESX version info to confirm that the intended live patch has been applied. The graphical interface of VCF operations makes fleet management tasks easy, but for more advanced deployments where scale and automation are important, these workflows can also be triggered by API. In the Developer Center, the DevOps team can use the API Explorer to find and learn how to use different API calls. For example, the REST API for updating hosts uses the updated endpoint, and it can be integrated into a variety of automation workflows.
So I want to challenge you all here. You're on the chat session as well. I love that AI generated voice, so that's why. But anyway, but I'm going to challenge you. We think we address some of the biggest pain points that are out there in our admin team, and I hope we've been listening really well, right? So what you saw is single sign-on across all of the products. You saw fleet management so that you can do a central way of managing. You saw live patch, non-disruptive patching of ESX patches. Think of those security patches I have to drive across an environment. You saw cert management, one of the pain points I hear from many of you. How can I fix all of the certs and cert replacement? You saw integration with CA so that you can do and non-disruptive and updating of certificates through the CA authorities and auto updates and auto renews. And you saw APIs for everything. I hope what we're doing is delivering on our promise, delivering for you that integrated admin experience. But now I want to get your task. Go in the chat, post out what do you think was most exciting about that. I'm going to challenge you later on the next demo, but post out some of the cool things that you think were pretty exciting. So beyond that, the admin, we've got to look also at the automation. And this is a unified automation console. And what you're looking at there is actually an automation console, kind of similar to what AWS has with a set of services, whether it's a virtual machine service, Kubernetes services, the load balancer services. These are services that you can make available to developers and do it in a controlled way. You can also just decide I'll deploy my container or VM-based application. And of course, you can do that just as you have before. But this allows us to actually for you to build tenancy, which allows you to build resource groups and pools and services just like you would on a cloud. Just like a company running up on AWS cloud, they're able to get their set of resources, they're able to get their set of services like they have up in the top left there, they're able to deliver those services. So full automation of the platform. But importantly, one of the areas, right, if you think about applications, of course, are running on VMs or containers. I mean, that's basically what applications run on. And sometimes, in many cases, those containers actually run on virtual machines. But that's kind of a different point. But to run those container applications, think of Kubernetes and container applications, I don't just need the Kubernetes runtime, right? The vSphere Kubernetes service delivers just what you have up on EKS or GKE, right? So Amazon EKS, Elastic Compute Service, Google's Compute Engine, GKE. VKS is the same. It's an integrated platform, but it has all the services, because to deliver a container-based application, I need to have a backup service, Valera backup service. I need to have a Harbor, an image registry, a Harbor image registry. I need to have Pinnipad integration so that I can do access control. I need to, of course, integrate in with my storage, my CSI adapters, my networking, my CNI adapters. I need to be able to manage VMs and containers all through Kubernetes. All of these services, and we can go on, there's Contour for integration into the networking side. There's monitoring, because you want Prometheus for monitoring services. All of these are what you need to run applications properly and to run the modern agile applications. And all of those are now part of VCF9. We maintain those components. We maintain those open source components. You decide which of these you need to actually bring into the deployment, and you can make them available to your developers. And it's very easy. It's all part of our interfaces to actually just kind of point and click kind of interfaces to enable these services for your developers. And then they can actually run and do their, kind of YAML definitions and specs and cluster API for provisioning services, all in a dynamic and automated way. So this is not just a Kubernetes runtime. This is a full Kubernetes service with all of the associated components built in. And an important part, if you think about kind of the application side, we've got a great application. We've got an automation platform, gives you access to any application that you need to deploy, and tenancy management so that I'm able to allocate resources. I've got a full runtime service for Kubernetes, not just the Kubernetes runtime, sorry, but all of the full Kubernetes service, which includes backup services, operational monitoring services, logging services, identity integration, networking and storage integration, of course. But VPCs are also really important. How can I give the ability for each application or group of applications, how can I isolate them from one another? And a virtual private cloud is now native in VCF9. This is based on our work on integrating in the NSX platform. And as part of that, we actually brought VPCs not just into some NSX manager, but actually into vCenter itself. So get in there, enjoy it. You're looking at the vCenter client here. You're looking at the VPCs and the control of the environment. Try it out. Great way to actually give you more protection on your applications, because you're able to isolate applications into VPC groups. And then, of course, cost control and chargeback. So if you do all these things, you want to allow resources out to different tenant groups, you must also manage cost and efficiency and look at the chargeback of the environment. So everything built in to the platform. So the last area I want to touch on is security and resiliency. And instead, I'm going to go straight to another demo, because after this, I can show you some more innovation that we've done. But let's jump into another demo and let's see what you pick up from that, because security is hard. But why is it hard? Because the important thing that you need to understand is we've got to be able to audit everything that's going on across the environment. We've got to have compliance kind of ready level audits. We've got to have the ability to do compliance from a configuration and settings point of view, so that I know entire environment is actually safe and set up correctly. So it's about fleet management at scale is critical to be able to deliver secure operations at their runtime. So let's show you an example of that through another demo.
One of the biggest areas of concern for our customers is security, and rightly so. Not only do they want to be secure, they want to know the state of their security posture at any time. To that end, VCF Operations provides a security operations page to alleviate those concerns. This helps bubble up security events and infrastructure security issues to admins. There are alerts related to advisories, configuration issues, design guidance, and more. This reduces the chance of missed threats and improves collaboration between teams, whether it is addressing an intentional attack or just correcting something that was overlooked by an admin. For example, we can leverage the authentication and user permissions panes to see if our environment has been potentially compromised by internal or external actors. And as you can see, there has been a recent spike in user permission changes within the last 24 hours, which is unusual. So let's investigate further by clicking on View Details. Here, we can quantify the number of created, deleted, and updated user permissions. And as we drill down for more detail, it appears that our junior admin has given administrator rights to members of our finance and HR team. So we're beginning to uncover a trail that we can literally audit with our appropriately named audit events feature. So let's see what else our junior admin has been doing. With audit events, we can filter by keywords, level of severity, object types, and IDs to quickly zero in on what we are interested in exploring more. Since our junior admin is now on our radar, let's do a keyword search to see what else they have updated. With the filter applied, we see that our junior admin has changed some permissions and modified the password and lockout policy on a day many of the team were out at a conference. Was that legitimate? Or is this evidence of an attack in progress? And if it is legitimate, do we really want this? What were they thinking there? There is a lot of great information here, but wouldn't it be great if we can see how these policies have changed? Have they become more secure or less secure? Luckily, we can also drill down further to see exactly what changed. And this is where the configuration drift feature can help. In this case, the complexity of our password and lockout policies has been reduced, making it easier for a bad actor to gain access and putting us out of compliance with our organizational access control policies. Speaking of compliance, we can show that too. We believe that a good security posture leads to faster audits. Being able to know where you stand for an audit at any time is extremely helpful. Plus, this is another way that a system change will be noticed, since alarms are automatically sent. And VCF enables this through a variety of compliance packs. They help organizations maintain compliance with regulatory benchmarks. We can also customize them so that they reflect our own decisions about security and help eliminate false positives and perpetual red in the displays. Let's take a look at one of our compliance packs in more detail. Here, we can view compliance scorecards and dashboards to gain a clear understanding of our environment's compliance posture. When VCF detects a non-compliance issue, it generates alerts that provide details about the problem and potential remediation steps. For example, here, we see that SSH access, which was enabled by our junior admin, is not restricted. This, combined with the lax password and lockout policies, makes our environment even more susceptible to brute force attacks. Now that we are aware of the issue, we can let VCF automate the remediation with the click of a button. We can even document our efforts for auditing purposes.
So again, hopefully you saw some pretty amazing things there. I love the way they say, "What were they thinking there?" It's just that expression just sounds really funny, but it is true. Managing a large scale environment is really difficult. So you've got to be able to have complete auditable forensic logging. And that's what you saw. You've got to have configuration drift and monitoring so that you can actually see what's happening across the environment, actually monitor for change against what you think is golden spec or whatever you want to call it in terms of a well-configured and trusted environment. You've got to have those compliance reports. People ask me, how can I assure that I'm HIPAA compliant, I'm PCI compliant, I'm DISA compliant, common criteria compliant. All of that you can build. Now, not just in the compliance side of things, you can also change. So you can take those kind of compliance, it gives you a baseline. You can say, oh, I want to look for a couple of extra things that I want to check for. And again, you can modify those compliance reports, run it in an automated way across the environment. So this will give you a secure, trusted, confident runtime with full detail forensic logging. And I hope as you saw that, you saw VRO integrated too. How do we bring in automated remediation of it? Well, that's easy. We've got an automated script engine, which is the VRO workflows. We've got a whole portfolio of workflows that we've actually built. And so a pretty powerful capability, and that's integrated across all of our operations as well. So how did VCF9 do? So we released it actually last Tuesday. So we're now, this is 1 week, the 1 week anniversary of the release of VCF9. But as part of this, we had more than 250 customers actually actively participate in the beta. And this is high-level features of what their satisfaction level was. So 76, 77% satisfaction level. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'd love to see it pushed up to 80, 90%, but that's pretty good actually in terms of satisfaction. But what did people find most valuable? Single sign-on you see repeated across. These were different kind of survey responses on value, usability, and functionality, but clearly some things shine. The security operations that I just showed you, the single sign-on capability that you saw at the beginning, the certificate management capability, the diagnostics, health monitoring. Get in there, get to use. You've got access now to VCF9. You can deploy it, use it, see how you can get it deployed into your environment. I think it will help. So a couple of the things that people were saying, certificates also really nice as an interface element and being able to manage them. VCF installer, single best workflow for actually managing and installing products. Overall, very satisfied with the networking capabilities, new VPC features. There's a lot of different things in this release, a lot of capabilities. Get to know it. Hopefully you've got a kind of teaser of it from what I've just shown today. So one of the things that I get asked is, well, how can I get there? And importantly, whether your starting point is a vSphere only customer or a person who's using vSphere and Ops, or a person who's using NSX and vSAN, or a person who's full VCF today, all of those are upgrade pathways that can actually upgrade into VCF9. And this is an important thing that we used to call it brownfield import, but we spent a lot of time making sure that all of your upgrade scenarios can upgrade into VCF9. There's one exception, which is service providers who are running VCD. Those customers were looking at 9.1 for deployment because of the way that with Cloud Director and the interfaces that are supported. But every other customer, you should be able to move forward. We are doing assessments so that we can actually show and check your environment, but we'd love to see more and more customers get out there, consume, use the product, and find what's best for you. Look at which of the areas of the product you'd like to expand on. Do you want to bring in private AI capabilities and that ability now to run GPUs as a service and get up the efficiency of these inefficient generative AI applications that are getting deployed in enterprises today? Let's get them to be more efficient. Let's bring the cost efficiency we could do with the rest of the data center when we virtualized it. Do you want to take on the container platform? How can we bring VKS? Hell of a lot easier because you get not just the Kubernetes runtime, but all of the sets of services. Do I want to bring better isolation and VPCs? So think about the areas that you want to pick on. Pick those areas that are most valuable to you and look at trying to deploy just that piece. You'll deploy an upgrade to VCF9, but then look at adopting which of those pieces are most important to you to accelerate your value from the product. So the other thing I want to touch on is really certificates or certifications and training. And this is very important. So of course, we've made free home licenses available. We want you to get certified, right? So you got access to, I'd like you all to look at the VCP certifications. So whether it's a VCF admin or VCF architect, those are the things you should look at in terms of becoming an expert. And if you do, you will get full access. For VMUG members, you get full access to the VCF licenses, the certifications, all of the training and online training is available to you for free. So become an expert. Get it onto your business cards. But that's the one ask I would say is A lot of training. We've got them all updated. So go out there, look for the training, and get educated. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is really Explore. So Explore is happening in Vegas, 25th to 28th. We're doing a CTAB just before for those who were CTAB kind of members. But we'd love to see you there. This is a chance for you to kind of learn from each other. It's going to be a big event. You'll see a lot of training and technical sessions. We're making this as technical an event as possible. So a lot of technical sessions on how to for every one of the components that I mentioned, because I touched a whole bunch of new stuff that's coming. And you'll see some new things that were coming. Where are we going to next? But that's what Explore is all about. Where are we going to next? But most importantly, how do we help you get you certified? How do we help you with demos, labs, and on-demand labs so you see what's happening? How do we get you into technical sessions so you're going to learn about the product? It is your forum. It's your technical forum. I hope to see you all there. So with that, I've got to the end of my session, and hopefully very valuable to you. I'll just leave this one up. But I really appreciate your time, and yeah, get dangerous. Get out there, get certified, use the product, and give us feedback. You continue to do that. It helps us build what I hope you think you've seen here, a much better product. And VCF9 is the private cloud platform. So hopefully what you need. Thank you.
There we go. I think I'm on now. Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that. And yeah, judging by the chat, I mean, people are very excited. You mentioned a few of these, the SSO, the fleet management, the live patching, the cert management is another big one. And then, all around security. So we are definitely excited about VCF9. And of course, VMUG will be at Explore as well. We'll have a large presence like we always do. It's a big family reunion. Can't wait to see everybody again. And of course, learn more about VCF9. And if you have a full pass, you can have your free cert sit. So you can go get your VCP certification, get your advantage, and get your VCF 128 core for your home lab. And it was in the chat. Somebody asked, do you have to take the class before the certification? Nope. Broadcom dropped that back in May of 24. So you can self-study and go take your cert, and then you're good to go. So thank you very much, Paul. So coming up next, we have got a session from one of our sponsors, Zerto, and it's about ransomware. And we also have later on in the day, one of our other sponsors, Valley Cyber, is going to be talking about security as well. And you can see in the schedule all throughout, we've got community sessions. We have VMware and Broadcom sessions, of course, a lot going deeper into VCF9. So I encourage everybody to check all that out the rest of the day. Thank you for attending the keynote. We are going to be running this again at 10 p.m. Central Time. So you can catch it there again if you want to. And of course, this is recorded and we'll have this out for everybody. So the next session starts at 9:50 a.m. Central Time. So you got a few minutes to go freshen up your coffee and then get to the next session. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching today, and enjoy the rest of the event.